Well, good day everyone. Today we're going to have a look at ElementeryOS or OS. It's version 5.1. It's based on Ubuntu 18.04, which is a little bit old now. I think the new one, which is a 20.1 or something, has been LTS now for I think about a year. So, but I thought I'll give it a try anyway and have a look. I've heard some nice things about the interface, and I must say I do like it. But I've got a few ideas already, but let's go through it. All right, so when you start up, it's a very simple installation. I just selected all the defaults. I didn't do anything fancy. I just wanted to see what the default will be, just for the kind of user that would want to use ElementeryOS. So we presented with this screen here. Welcome to telemetry or ElementeryOS, and we got some next here. Let's see what it says. All right, location services. Do you want to receive a prompt when an app requests this device's location? All locations, yes. So, well, location services, you can decide. I'm switching it off. Hello. Okay, the button doesn't move though, it just changes color. All right, that's not quite right, but okay. Night light, do you want night light? Yes, we can put that on. House scheming, old files can be automatically deleted after 30 days to save space. You can decide to do that, might be something handy. Get some apps from the App Center. I'm not going to do that now. And all right, we're ready to go. So what you can do is click here on Open System Settings, and let's see. It's based on GNOME and the Gala window manager. So this is very similar to what I've got. Obviously, I use Cinnamon, Linux Mint Cinnamon, and this is a few less options, but I mean, it's basically the same. So one of the things I did when I first started this up, we're running inside a virtual machine here in VirtualBox, is I came to displays, and then in the top right hand corner here, you can configure it, and I chose my resolution, and it seems to be working fine. So if you close that down, and we no longer need that, just how do I get rid of that? Get started. All right, which is a little bit different from, for instance, some of the other desktop environments, is that it relies on a dock down at the bottom here. And so like a lot of people say, it's very reminiscent of Apple's Mac OS. Evidently, I did read that the developers of ElementeryOS say that that's purely by chance, that they didn't intend that. I think I disagree. They did intend that. But irrelevant. Let's not pretend that this is a Mac OS equivalent. It's not at all. It is equivalent in the sense of that it's a very smooth, easy interface to use, not very complex, which we'll see shortly. So if we come down to the dock here, so our first option is a multitasking view. So there's our different windows, so workspaces. So if we open an app, so this is Epiphany. This is the default browser that comes with it. If we open that up and, for instance, open something else up, what's this? We've got a calendar down here as well, which somebody might need. All right, the normal way, we can just right mouse click on the title bar there, and we can move it to a different workspace. So we move it to the right. Okay, so if we come down here and we look, okay, so it's only showing us. Okay, so that's how he does it. So that's quite nice actually, a bit different. So if you want to move to the next workspace, you can use your meta key and the right arrow, and then to move to the right, and to the left, come back again. But another way you can do that is if you come to the multitasking view, it zooms out like that, and then if you click on these windows to the left here, it moves as well. That's quite nice. All right, you'll find I say a lot of things are nice, okay, today for ElementeryOS. I found that it's definitely aimed at a very specific kind of user. That would be, and I'm not denigrating it at all, but that would be for somebody that's not really interested in really setting up a desktop environment for their own needs. They're just going to accept the default settings and they're going to stick with it. And that's fine for a lot of people. I'm thinking about people that are, for instance, not very technical. or have no interest in fiddling with a desktop. Just think, for instance, of your granny or your granddad. All right, this is something that they would use. It's just going to work for them. They don't have to fiddle with it. It just works out of the box. It's great. It looks good. They'll be happy with this. And there's not much that you can do that's going to mess things up. So let's say, for instance, so this is the Epiphany browser. All right. Let's go and look at its options. Look at the settings here. So we've got a new Windows install site as a web application. Interesting. So let's go to preferences and see what it's got. Very little. Okay, so it does have block pop-up windows here. So we put that on. Let's see what else it's got here. Manage search engines. Bing. Interesting if you're going to use Bing. All right. DuckDuckGo and Google. Interesting, there's not start page here. Okay, but all right, so we've got DuckDuckGo there. You can add another one. You can go and add start page, for instance, etc. So all right, but close that down. Something else that's new as well from the normal title bars up top is where the close button is and where the minimize and maximize button is. I'm going to show you that now. But all right, so we come to store data, cookies, always accept. Okay, remember your passwords. I've got a password manager here. Okay, your personal data. What's that about? Ooh. And Epiphany died. Let's open it up again. It's not a big deal. I'm going to get rid of it or not use Epiphany anyway. I'll be installing Firefox or Brave, but in this video we're going to do Firefox. So let's go back to preferences here. And okay, so we saw that stored data, manage personal data crashed. Yeah, again, so let's not do that. Okay, so back to preferences. All right, what else have we got here? We've got our language you can set up, and you can do a Firefox sync. Interesting. Like I was saying, your close and maximize and minimize in Epiphany, the close is on the left here, and the maximize here on the right. I click that, it maximizes. I click it again, and it just brings it down. So there's no way that I can see that I can actually drop it down completely. Okay, it might just me that doesn't know, but then again, somebody that's going to be using this is not really going to be fiddling a lot, and if they don't see the minimize immediately, then according to them there is no minimize, and that's something that they'll be aware of. But maybe it doesn't matter. You know, how often do you as a normal user have many applications open which are minimized and so forth? Let's just see what happens if I click on the dock though. Okay, so if you click on the dock, it brings it down. So that's okay. And if you make it maximize, the dock disappears. That's also nice. Okay, so the dock isn't always in the way, which is one of the reasons I don't like a dock. I think let's install Firefox. So one of the things you can go and do is go to system, where do we install your App Center? And I think App Center is down here as well. Yes, it's down there. If we click on App Center here, so I wonder if it's got Firefox in here. Let's see what it's got. Yes, it's got Firefox. It doesn't tell us what version though. All right, it tells us nothing about the version. Okay, just go and install that, but so it doesn't tell you the version. I don't like that. I'm not going to be using that. So through Epiphany, I'll be going to the Firefox website. It should be the normal Control T, opens a new tab, and let's say download Firefox. All right, so it uses DuckDuckGo there. Let's just make this a bit bigger. All right, so here we've got Firefox, and we go to download. We say download Firefox, and let's see what happens with that. So so it shows it over here. So if I click there, yep, there it is. Interesting that we got to extract it ourselves. It's not what we want actually. Okay, but again, as a normal user, you can't go to the Firefox site and download it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to accept, quit and cancel downloads. We're going to go to the App Center and install it that way. And let's see what version it installs for us. I did notice that Elementary seems to be a little bit heavy on hard drive use, in the sense of it reads the hard drive a lot. I'm running with 3 gig RAM available, which is normally much more than I give to Linux distributions when I do reviews. Normally sitting at about 2 gig. So yeah, it's a little bit heavy on that hard drive usage. Not too bad, especially on modern, maybe on an SSD you wouldn't even notice it. So alright, so let's type in again Firefox. Let's go to Firefox and let's select it, and we click on free up top here, and it tells us that they don't look out for it, it's not checked by them, etc. So yeah, okay, we're going to install anyway. So let's put Firefox on and see what happens. So it's a 60 meg drive download. So the only way to get the docket back is to, okay, so let's pull that down. Then something else we can go and do is open a terminal. Oh, okay, so it wants, because it's doing the Firefox install, it wants your sudo password. It's doing that. Let's see what happens. Still busy. Okay. Another thing we can go and do is if you take meta T. Oh, sorry, that's the other thing which I discovered. If you just press your meta key, so in other words, like on a normal keyboard, your Windows button, your meta button, okay, you just click that, just tap it, and then you get these shortcuts that pop up for you. That's quite nice. That's quite handy for somebody that's trying to use this interface. It's not really technical and just wants to have these things, just one press, boom, meta, and yeah, all the shortcuts. So it doesn't tell you everything here. For instance, it doesn't tell you how to open a terminal. Okay, so those shortcuts aren't here, which we can get to. So if you come up to applications here and system settings, and we look at keyboard, there's keyboard, okay, and we go to shortcuts. All right, so let's see applications, for instance. Okay, so terminal, new accelerator. Oh, sorry, no. So it's meta T, and for instance, your home folder is Explorer. Fine, that doesn't work for me. Let's make that a new accelerator, and we're going to make it Windows E or meta E. So let's close that down, and let's say meta E, and let's see, it should open up. There we go. All right, so it's the file browser that's open up now for us, and that looks quite pretty, nice and clean. All right, so downloads is empty, music, nothing in here. I'd like to, there's the file system as well, so we can actually go to the file system and do our stuff. So that's quite nice. And then if I say meta T, okay, it opens up the terminal. Now, so I like the dark theming. I happen to like dark. Okay, it's nice on my eyes, but this is slightly transparent, and normally you would expect now to be able to, as a normal user, like in KDE or in Cinnamon, whatever you're using, and you can now change these transparency levels and so forth. And it doesn't have it. What it does have though is you can go to settings in the top right hand here. All it's got is these three options. Let's say solarized light. That's a little bit better, more contrast, or I can go to that which is completely non-transparent. All right, so you choose which one you want, but that's basically the three we got. Now I'm sure you can go and edit some config file some way to change these things, but again, if you open up this kind of interface, this GUI, if you like this, you're not really the kind of person that's going to fiddle with those things. Those are basically your three options that you've got. So think of you as installing it for somebody else, and these are the options they got. It's not bad. It's usable. It works. What we can do is, let's say uname-a, and let's see what's installed on here. Okay, so there it says elementary. So it's Linux 5.4058, which is very new. I think that's actually that's about as new as you're going to get if you're running with Ubuntu. Which is interesting though, is that Ubuntu itself is 18.04.1. all right, and like I said, LTS is now on 20.01 or something already for about a year, so that's a bit old. So that's going to prevent us from getting the latest versions of certain things. Like for instance, I use MariaDB a lot, and let's see what version it's going to give us. Now I know that through my normal Linux Mint 20, that's running on Ubuntu LTS 20 whatever, 21 or whatever, 20.1, and there I can download MariaDB version 10.3. Now this one, let's see what it can give us. If we say sudo, oops, oh, that's another thing. How would I zoom in on this to show you guys? All right, so I press Control and scroll and roll the mouse wheel. Okay, that's nice. So we go to sudo apt install and then MariaDB and we press tab. What's the options? All right. So there we've got server core 10.1, client core 10.1, etc. It's not far behind, but it is behind 20.1. But that's okay. Ooh, okay. So for interest's sake as well, let's just have a look at, for instance, something that I was fiddling with today on my other machine is, for instance, the logs. So could I, for instance, I would imagine is, because it's Ubuntu 18.04 at the bottom of all of this, can I look at my syslogs? All right. So sudo, where's it? Var logs, log syslog, and it's going to ask for my password. All right. Sorry, I've got to tail it and follow it. Okay. So there it is, and let's zoom in on that a bit. All right, so let's bring it down a bit again, so it's all on one line. There, I can get to my syslogs. So it looks fairly standard Ubuntu. They haven't really changed much of anything. So if you know Ubuntu and in a way Debian, you should feel quite at home. Anyway, so let's break out of the command line. Okay, so if you give this to somebody that's going to be using this kind of UI, at least you will be able to support them from the command line as well. It seems to be, full-blown Linux running there, not minimized in any way. But okay, so that's that. So now, it installed Firefox for us, but where is Firefox? So let's open this again. So it doesn't tell us to open it, it's just we can uninstall it. If we come up here to applications in the top left, Firefox should be on this list. Oh, there we go, Firefox web browser. Interesting, it does not have the Firefox icon. Okay, maybe if I right mouse click, you can add to dock, but I can't edit its properties and change its icon. But let's just click on it and see what happens. So it adds it to the dock with the correct icon. Okay, but it's not running. There it is. Okay, again, like I say, it's a little bit slow, but all right, we'll leave it on that. And then something I always do, so I give myself a little bit of a advert. I open up my own website always. How it looks. A little bit slow again, but all right, and there we go. Okay, so it's opened it up, all good. Let's see it scroll. There we go. Ooh, the screen up. Oh, well, then again, I am in a virtual machine, and so this screen is a little bit slow there. So, all right, let's go and look at some stuff here. It's all good. Further, that's good. Okay, so this is just testing out Firefox. It should be normal Firefox. I wouldn't imagine there would be any problems. Go to YouTube. Okay, and then what we can do is, while it's loading that, is let's see what version we're on. Help and about Firefox. All right, so we're on 84. That is the latest. So we're on the latest. All right, so that's good. You can obviously go and set your options now. Okay, so we'll close tabs. So those are defaults. Okay, and then what else have we got here? You got your email client. Like I said, you got your calendar, which is very nice. Okay, the reason why it's shot over like that is because it's open on Workspace 2. So we can go back to, oh, sorry, that's Workspace 1. So I've been fiddling on Workspace 2 all the time. Okay, can I add a new thing? Right mouse click on it, nothing happens. Double click on it. So you got to double click on it, and you can go and add a new calendar event. That's very nice. Looks pretty. I really like the look of it. Okay, so something else that I definitely do want to do is Visual Studio Code, for instance. So if we go to the App Center again, let's see if it's got Visual Studio Code in the App Center. In Visual Studio Code. Doesn't seem to find it. Okay, what it does have is this code. That's its text editor. Let's see what that looks like. So yeah, here it is, code. Let's have a look at that. Okay, no files open. All right, let's open a file. How do I show my hidden files? It will normally be Control H. Yes. All right, so Control H will also show you hidden files. Here's your bash RC, bash history. Let's open up bash RC. Okay, so it's those colors. I'm not quite sure about those colors. All right, so these settings, yeah, these colors seems to be not only for the terminal, but for all the windows, or something like that. But all right, so there's your bash RC. You can go and edit that. It's usable. Okay. But okay, so it didn't have Visual Studio Code for us. So I'm going to go to Firefox again. What we can do, let's see if we can add a shortcut to Firefox. So if we go to our system settings, we go to keyboard, and we say shortcuts. Okay, let's see, maybe he's added it already. Sorry, where are we at? All right, so enter a command. Okay, enter a command. All right, Firefox. Okay, now what? New accelerator. Okay, we're going to make it MetaF. Oh, it's already been assigned. Okay, it's nice it tells you that. All right, so what we can do is another one that I like using is Control-Shift-F. All right, so let's click on it again, Control-Shift. Okay, so it's assigned it. So close that down and Control-Shift-F. Firefox is opening and there it goes. So let's try out Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. Okay, and we can go to its page. Stable is 151. 152 is available. Okay. So, all right. So we can download the Debian package. So that should work flawlessly. I've done this a million times. Yeah. So we save that. Okay. So it's definitely feeling everything is working. Everything is good. Okay. It's nice, a nice interface. I like using it. But there's not many settings for you to play around with, which is good in a way. Okay, like I say, this is something just as is you can just give to somebody that's not really going to do much fiddling, that just wants a system to check their email, to browse the internet, listen to music, videos and that type of stuff, YouTube, etc. This is a brilliant answer for that. It's very stable, being based on Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, so it's good. I like this. I will definitely recommend this for somebody that does not want to fiddle too much. The problem is a lot of people though, now again, I'm not saying your granny and your granddad, all right, but a lot of guys or girls, all right, a lot of people move over to .NET, I just read .NET there, that's why I said it. A lot of people move over to Linux, you know, as beginners, and this is a good interface for them to be safe with. They can't really mess up things, all right, by fiddling with settings and so forth. So they're very safe here. But very soon, a lot of them are going to start moving over to being not just a beginner, but an intermediary user. And they're going to want to start fiddling with things. Not power users, all right, but just the intermediary user. They're going to start fiddling with things. And I'm not sure if this is the correct desktop for them to use for fiddling. Maybe something else like Cinnamon Mint Cinnamon is a good answer. They can start fiddling in there. There's a lot of things you can do. So for somebody who's going to move over onto Linux and then later move on to something a little bit more where they can really change the settings much more, this is not really the best solution for that. But for somebody who's never really going to move beyond just this basic simple interface, just to do their web browsing and their mail and so forth, this thing is absolutely brilliant for that. ElementeryOS, brilliant. I love it. All right, so let's take that and okay, so that's Firefox. So all right, so interesting. In their documentation, they also say that to minimize or to restore, it'll always be on the right-hand side of the window. Now in Firefox, it's not. It's moved from the right to the left and sits next to the close. Okay, just something interesting to note. Okay, so Visual Studio should have been downloaded now. So yes, it's complete. So we click on it and so choose another application. Okay, so it doesn't by default pick up that it's all right. So it doesn't show us apps per se to choose from. So we got to go and look for the package manager here. Okay, so that's also not quite what most users will want. That should seriously, I mean, it's a .deb package. It should just detect it. I would have thought this is a given, guys. This should have been an obvious thing, you know. So let's try something again. No, Okay. So that, yeah, so the fact that it doesn't have the Debian package manager as an option, that's a bit of a bummer as well. But okay, so that stuff you can always help them with, and you can do it from the command line and so forth. So it's still okay, but not something that I would use, obviously. I do think it's really nice for its niche market. And those are people that, not necessarily people coming from Windows or coming from Mac to Linux, not necessarily, but just for somebody that really wants a clean interface, a clean desktop that they can't really mess up. There's not too many settings. It'll work for them. It'll work for your grand and your granddad. It'll work. All right. Now, being Ubuntu 18.04, I know you can put Steam on here. You can play games. That should all be fine. But okay, I can't test that now. But that should all be fine. So, how do I feel? Yeah, I like it. I think that they put some work into it. It's very smooth. It's very clean. You feel smooth and safe and warm. I like it. Yeah, guys, I give it a thumbs up. For its niche market, I give it a thumbs up. And then we can go do log out, shut down. All right, and then you can go and do whatever you want to do. See you. Bye.